Hey everyone, this video is just a very brief introduction to my mental practice notation for musicians. And you might know that mental practice is great for memorization for music so that you don't rely on just muscle memory and mindlessness and so on. It can be used for maintenance of pieces, even learning new pieces, and of course it frees you up to practice outside of the practice room, wherever you are, like I'm doing right now. This is, I'm not sure if it's really part of Bryant Park. I mean, it's kind of off to the side of it. But I'm able to do practicing here right now. But if you're doing practicing yourself, if you're trying to improve your mental practice, there's not many resources available on how can you improve the quality of your mental practice, how can you be more specific about it, how can you keep track of your work and make it more refined. So I want to explain just a little bit of that here. And on this channel, hope to share with you all strategies, mindsets, methods, and so on that'll help you in your piano practice, maybe even other areas too. So my copy of the Chopin Etudes here, and this is piano music, but I realize it can be used for really any other music as well too. I mean, you might not use separate hands notation. Sometimes for physical practice I'll use regular square brackets for separate hands notation, but here I just have these both hand brackets, these kind of like curly or squiggly brackets. This is for my physical playing within my logical methodology. So this means I can play 8 measures, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus the first chord of the next page, literally this vertical. That's what that 8 means. And then this 4, and this is relatively new. I haven't talked about this so much yet, even with my current students, but I'm going to start talking about it more, I think. This is my mental practice notation. So this 4, it's within these little like angle brackets or whatever you call them. And this means I can play in my mind 4 measures, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the following beat, or this vertical over here, just with my mind, right? And I'm not talking about moving your fingers at the same time, tabletop practicing or anything. There's a video that I believe I called The Strongest Memory Technique for Pianists. You can definitely watch that. I have another mental practice video as well on the channel. So this is just a very good way to just keep track of your work. And over here you can see I have this 2, which means that I've mentally played 2 measures plus the following beat, 2 measures plus the following. So we always include the following beat when we're using this notation. So very, very simple. And with spaced repetition, we know that if I practice 2 measures plus the following beat, I move on, then I come back and then I have to redo it again. It will actually help my memory a great deal. And with my rule of expansion that you can also see on my channel, I will combine these 2 measure mental practice sets into a 4, right? So after I sleep on it, maybe I come back the next day, then I can try to go for 4 measures all the way through, 4 measures plus the first beat on the following page. Now when I'm doing this, I should also continue to use strategy. So anything I would have done physically, I should continue to do here mentally as well too. So even while I'm sitting here in this park, let's say that I wanted to solve this 4 measure set, first beat of 5 to first beat of 9, which is actually on the next page. So I would still use adding in reverse. So I could do the first beat of 7 to the first beat of 9 on the following page and play that mentally, both hands, and then I can play first beat of 5 to first beat of 9 on the next page. It's what I would have done physically, but I just do it using my mind. I can do what I just said, first beat of 7 to first beat of 9, right hand alone, and then left hand alone, and then both. And then I can do first beat of 5 to first beat of 9, right hand alone, and then left hand alone, and then both. And this is basically adding 2 measure sets in reverse, separate than both for each step. I could add smaller though. I could do like the last measure, right? First beat of 8 to first beat of 9 on the next page. I could do first beat of 7 to first beat of 9, then first beat of 6 to first beat of 9, then first beat of 5 to first beat of 9. So I can just do that all in my head without the use of the piano. In this video, I won't talk about how you actually get to the point that you can mental practice this effectively. I would suggest doing more mixed practice at the piano, like playing both physically and mentally, and maybe I can talk about that more in another video. But basically anything that you do physically, you can do mentally as well. I just want to show one other quick example here. So yeah, let's say this for instance. So I decided to be extra strict with myself the other day, and I thought like, oh, I really want to like do like really, really clear half measure mental practice sets, which means half of a measure plus the next beat. So even though I have
a 4 here, I have a 4 here, which means I can, like this 4 means I can play 4 measures plus the next beat, first beat of 1, first beat of 5, physically, right? Because it's within these curly brackets without any trouble at all. Actually, I can do a lot more than that, but maybe I need to update these markings. But you know, I'm reviewing this piece now. But this half, all that means is that mentally I can play from here, half of a measure, to here, the next chord here. And then this half, within the ankle brackets, all that means is I can play half of a measure and then the next beat mentally in my mind, right? And to play this mentally, for instance, I can even add very tiny sections in reverse, right? So I can play like from here to here mentally, then here to here, just the last 3/8 notes, then the last 4/8 notes. Then I can go from here to here, then here to here, then here to here, using just my mind. I can also do separate them both for each step. Like I could do here to here, right hand alone, then left hand alone, and then both, and then here to here, right hand alone, then left hand alone, and then both. And then of course from here to here, right hand alone, then left hand alone, and then both. I could also have just done quarters. I could have done the last quarter from here to here, and then the entire half. But basically I'm saying that anything that you can do physically, you can do mentally as well too, and then keep track using a custom notation. I recommend using the one that I've created because it's very simple and easy to understand. When people say just do mental practice, just do more of it, do it before you go to sleep, just do it more consistently, it's good for you. If that's the extent of their advice, that's as silly to me as saying just physically practice. You can definitely be more specific. Everything else you see on this channel, adding in reverse, rule of expansion, rule of transition, like everything you see about my logical methodology within my River Flows in You, 14 layers of strategy series or other videos that you see, all of this can be done mentally and with your mind as well too. And as you can see from my examples, sometimes I would have like a 4-measure physical set, which means I can play 4 measures plus the next beat physically, but then only half measure mental practice sets, which means I can play half of a measure plus the next beat mentally, and that's totally fine. Often your mental image, it may be trailing behind your physical capabilities, and also I'm just trying to be like super strict with myself. With physical coordinations, it's often the case that things will click after some time, after you go through some more spaced repetition. Maybe you aren't getting the technique, and then after you sleep on it and come back the next day a bunch of times, it finally clicks at some point, you're able to play it. Sometimes with mental practice, won't go into detail in this video because it's primarily about the notation that I showed you, but if things are fuzzy at first, just try your best to picture it, do a small enough area like I was showing you. You don't even have to do halves, you can even do quarters. Picture to the best of your ability, break it down, horizontally separate hands, break it down vertically with tiny little sections, sleep on it, come back the next day. If you do this consistently and you're not discouraged by the fact that it wasn't perfect right away, it'll become clearer and clearer over time. So anyway, hope you found this helpful, hope you found it interesting. Please like and subscribe. If so, ask me your follow-up questions. I definitely am going to do more mental practice videos and examples at some point in the future too. So yeah, thanks. Looking forward to the next one.